Signs, let me ask you something. What if finding the one isn't about fate or luck, but about something much more predictable? And what if most people completely miss the signs and walk away from someone truly meant for them? Here's the truth. When two people are meant for each other, the signs are there, subtle but undeniable. The real question is, do you see them? Welcome to Bond Chronicle, your go-to channel for real relatable advice on love and relationships. Today, we're breaking down the 5 signs that prove someone is meant for you. And to make this real, I'll share a story that might just change how you see love forever. I came across this story in a popular relationship for him, and I knew I had to share it with you. Here's the story. Jake never believed in love at first sight, but the moment he met Emily, something felt different. It wasn't dramatic or overwhelming. It was simple, effortless. They met at a friend's dinner party, and before the night ended, they had spent hours lost in conversation. It was the kind of connection you don't force. It just happens. They texted the next morning and the morning after that, and soon they were talking every single day without even thinking about it. There were no games, no mixed signals, just two people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Jake loved how Emily made him feel at ease, how she laughed at his dumb jokes and challenged him to think deeper about life. Emily loved how Jake always seemed to know exactly what to say, how their conversations flowed without effort, how she could just be herself around him. Everything was going perfectly, and maybe that was the problem. Jake started overthinking things. Shouldn't love be more complicated? He wondered, shouldn't there be drama, tension, something that makes me fight for it? He had heard people say that real love takes work, that you have to earn it. So why did this feel so easy instead of embracing their connection? Jake started doubting it. He convinced himself that something was missing, that maybe because things felt so effortless they weren't real. He started pulling away. He took longer to text back. He canceled plans. He told himself he needed time to figure things out. Emily noticed, but instead of begging for his attention, she did something Jake wasn't expecting. She let him go. She didn't chase him. She didn't try to convince him to stay. And when Jake finally realized what he had done, when he saw Emily with someone else who recognized their connection for what it was, it hit him. He had been looking for complication. When love had been standing right in front of him the whole time, he thought love was supposed to be a challenge. He didn't realize that when it's right, it just feels right. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They search for sparks, for uncertainty, for the adrenaline of chasing someone. When in reality, the best relationships aren't about chasing. They're about choosing. So let me ask you, what do you think Jake should have done differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you've ever been in a similar situation, share your experience below. Now that you've seen how easy it is to miss the signs, let's break down the 5 key things that show someone is truly meant for you. If they're meant for you, you'll notice these 5 signs now that you've seen how easy it is to miss the signs. Let's break down the 5 key things that show someone is truly meant for you. 1. You embrace each other's weirdness. No pretending, just pure acceptance. When you're with the right person, you don't feel the need to filter yourself. You can be your weird, goofy, unapologetic self without worrying about judgment. Think about it. How many times have you held back a joke, second-guessed your words, or felt like you had to tone down parts of your personality just to fit in with the right person? None of that happens. There's no need to impress, no need to be perfect. And that's exactly what Jake and Emily had. She loved his odd sense of humor, the way he'd make ridiculous voices while telling stories or overanalyze every little movie plot. And Jake adored Emily's quirky habits, how she'd sing dramatically to songs in the car, how she had a special dance for making coffee in the morning. But instead of recognizing that this was the kind of connection most people dream about, Jake got scared. He started thinking, isn't love supposed to be more serious, more complicated? Instead of embracing what they had, he pulled away because he didn't understand that real love feels natural. If you can be completely unapologetically yourself with someone and they love you for it, that's a sign they're meant for you too. Communication flows effortlessly. No games, no struggle, just real connection. If you're constantly guessing what they're thinking, playing games, or decoding mixed signals, that's not the right person. The one meant for you will make communication easy. No overanalyzing text messages, no wondering where you stand. No should I wait 3 hours to text back. Nonsense the right person makes. Talking feel natural. You can go from deep conversations about life to laughing about the dumbest things, and nothing ever feels forced. Jake and Emily had this too from the start. They just got each other. They could talk for hours without effort. They never had to play mind games, but Jake made the mistake of assuming it was too easy. He thought love was supposed to feel more dramatic, more intense, like the movies where couples fight and make up 100 times before finally being meant to be. But real love isn't about emotional chaos, it's about connection, understanding, and knowing. You don't have to fight for clarity. If someone is meant for you, communication just flows. 3. The timing feels right. Everything aligns without forcing it. Timing is one of the biggest reasons people sabotage great relationships. How many times have you heard someone say, "I really like them, but I don't know if it's the right time"? Here's the truth: when it's right, you don't have to force it, things just fall into place. Of course, no relationship will ever be perfectly timed, but when two people are meant for each other, life naturally aligns to bring them together. Jake didn't see that. He convinced himself that things were happening too smoothly, that maybe they needed more time, that maybe he needed to figure himself out before fully committing. So he pulled back, and by the time he realized his mistake, Emily had moved forward with someone who didn't overthink the timing but simply recognized their connection for what it was. If you're with someone, and things just feel right, if everything aligns naturally, and you don't feel like you're constantly forcing it, that's a sign they're meant for you. For mutual respect, for growth, you push each other to be better. The right person doesn't just love who you are, they encourage who you're becoming. A relationship isn't about staying the same, it's about evolving together, and when two people are truly meant for each other, they don't hold each other back, they push each other forward. Emily understood this. She admired Jake's ambition, his drive, and his potential. She listened when he talked about his goals, encouraged him when he doubted himself, and celebrated his small wins. She didn't try to change him. She simply believed in the best version of him. But Jake, he didn't see it that way. Instead of recognizing Emily as someone who genuinely wanted him to succeed, he started looking for problems that weren't there. He convinced himself that things were too perfect, that their relationship should be harder, that love wasn't supposed to feel this supportive, so he pulled back, thinking he needed to figure things out on his own. And by the time he realized that Emily had been his biggest supporter all along, she had already moved on to someone who valued what Jake had overlooked. That's the difference between the right relationship and the wrong one. The right person doesn't compete with your growth. They contribute to it. 5. You see a future together. And it feels natural, not forced. A relationship shouldn't feel like a guessing game. If you're constantly wondering, do they really see a future with me? That's not a good sign, because when it's right, picturing a future together doesn't feel scary or overwhelming. It just makes sense for Jake. This was the hardest truth to accept. He never allowed himself to picture a future with Emily, not because he didn't care about her, but because he was afraid of what it meant. He thought commitment should feel like a big, dramatic decision, something that required endless analysis and second-guessing. So he never asked himself the simplest question: do I want her in my life 5 years from now? Because if he had, he would have realized the answer was yes. Emily, on the other hand, didn't wait around for him to figure it out. She knew what she wanted, someone who was sure about her. So when Jake hesitated, she moved forward. And when he finally understood that he had seen a future with her, when he realized how effortless and natural it had always felt, it was too late. That's how so many people lose great relationships. They mistake certainty for complacency. They think real love should feel uncertain, when in reality it's the one thing that should feel obvious. So if you're with someone and imagining a future together feels easy, not forced, not stressful, but simply right, pay attention. Because that's not something you find every day. If you've watched this far, you're one of our real community members. And as a thank you, here's a bonus sign that's even more important than all the rest. Bonus, you feel a deep sense of peace. No anxiety, just certainty. The best relationships don't leave you questioning where you stand. They don't make you anxious, confused, or constantly second-guessing in. Instead, they bring a deep, undeniable sense of peace if you're always on edge, wondering if they really care. Replaying conversations in your head or feeling like you have to prove your worth, that's not butterflies, that's your intuition. Warning you, real love doesn't make you feel like you're chasing something that's always out of reach. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel chosen. It makes you feel home. Because the truth is, when you're with the right person, you don't live in fear of losing them. You live in the certainty that they're just as invested as you are. If you've watched till the end, type "meant for me" in the comments, so I know you're one of the real ones. If this resonated with you, hit the like button. It helps more people find this video. And if you want more content like this, subscribe to Bond Chronicle for daily insights on love, attraction, and relationships. We've also recommended some videos on your screen. Check them out next. See you back here tomorrow.